Hello, my loves. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome in to this video for the solar shift into Sagittarius. So first things first, if you are new, hi, welcome in. It is wonderful to have you here. What we're going to be doing is talking a little bit about astrology, and then we are going to be using our own astrology, learning about it, and then tapping into the spiritual tools of the oracle cards to get guidance on how to best utilize our personal astrology during this season. So if this is your first time here, you may want to go watch my tutorial video on how to get the most out of these readings. It is not necessary, but it's a tool there for you if you want to know how to engage with this material in a deeper way. For those who are not new, hello, welcome back. It is so wonderful to have you guys here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure for me to offer this support in this way. It brings me so much joy, and I hope you guys all know how much I truly love you, care for you, and am excited for your journeys. If you want to support me, there's many ways you can do that. Just engage with this material. Share it with people you think it will align with. You can also comment on it and let me know what is resonating for you, what questions you have. You can also donate if you feel inspired at paypal.me/devotedvulnerable. Link is in the description. And you can go to my website, devotedandvulnerable.com/services. Link is in the description if you want to learn more about the services that I offer. I offer card readings, I offer guided meditations, I offer a bunch of different other things, so go there and check it out if you feel called. No pressure. With all that being said, let's jump into Sagittarius season. I'm so excited to bring this energy to you guys. Sagittarius is my favorite sign. I am totally biased. I am a Sagittarian sun. I'm a Mercury Sagittarius. I'm a Saturn Sagittarius, and I'm a Uranus Sagittarius. So I am quite Sagittarian in my astrological makeup. Don't worry if that didn't make sense to you. Basically, I have a lot of Sag energy. So let's talk about what a solar season is. A solar season is when the sun, the spotlight of our solar system, is in a particular sign. The solar season of Sagittarius will start on November 22nd when the sun moves into the sign of Sagittarius, and it will last until December 21st, until the solstice, when the sun will then move into the sign of Capricorn. So during this solar month, and I will refer to this as the month as we go through these readings. So please understand when I say this month, I do mean solar month, November 22nd to December 21st. We're going to be focusing on the Sagittarian energy, the Sagittarian archetype. So your readings are going to be based on where Sagittarius shows up for you in your chart. Essentially what planets, the sun, the moon, and or your rising sign exist in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, if you do not know what planets and aspects you have in the sign of Sagittarius, do not worry. This is part of what we do here in these readings. We learn about our astrology. To get caught up with your own astrology, to get access to your own chart, to know how to read it and find out what planets are in this sign, watch my tutorial video. I have this tutorial video created for how to find your birth chart information on astro.com. Link is popping up here, and it is also in the description if you want to go and enter in your birth data to that site. And you do need to know your birth time in order to access this information. So go ahead and watch my how to find your birth time tutorial to get caught up on how to find your birth time so that you have something to work with the chart generator. So we're going to be spotlighting the sign of Sagittarius by finding out what planet, the sun, the moon, and or the rising sign is in Sagittarius. You will watch the readings and the explanations for every single planet that you have in Sagittarius. So for example, I mentioned that my sun's in Sagittarius, so is my Mercury, so is my Saturn, and so is my Uranus. So technically I have 4 readings this month because I have 4 planets in the sign of Sagittarius. I know that might be a lot of information for you, but this is when the sun, the spotlight of our galaxy, is really highlighting these elements and aspects of your life. So it's really fun to dive into how this is showing up in your life, how this archetype may be expressing itself through you, through the planets. I'll describe in each video what the planet in the sign of Sagittarius really means before I dive into the reading and the advice. If you do not have your sun, the moon, your rising sign, or any of the planets in the sign of Sagittarius, there's a video for you called Background Sagittarius. I'll explain in that video what that means, but you can watch that video if you don't have any of those aspects. So a little bit more about Sagittarius. You want to look at your Sagittarian suns for this entire month as well. Watch how they shine. Watch how they act during this time. So anyone with a birthday between November 22nd and December 21st, I call it spying on the solar sign, so that you can really learn more about this energy. The Sagittarian archetype is the archetype of the archer. And the archer has this bow and arrow that it's aiming. And what is it aiming at? It's aiming at anything it wants to. But the thing that Sagittarius loves to aim at the most is truth. We love to aim at truth. Truth is one of our favorite things to aim at. It is essentially the energy of this archer and or centaur. So we can be adventurous. The Sagittarian sign is adventurous, congenial, which means likable, dreamy, very, very idealistic, very, very focused on what it is that we are wanting in our lives. We are optimistic. We're always looking at the positive side of things, and we are intellectual. So I say we because, yes, I am in the Sagittarian archetype, but this is going to show up somewhere in your life as well. So it refers to you as well, no matter where it shows up in your chart. So the modality of the Sagittarius, meaning the way that this energy expresses, is through the modality of what's called mutable. You see the little arch with the dot underneath it up there. And that's the symbol for mutable. Mutable signs are always the signs that happen during a change in seasons. So in the Northern Hemisphere, Sagittarius happens between the change from fall to winter. It's not quite winter yet, and fall's kind of winding down. And so the energy of the Sagittarius is very changeable, mutable, very adaptable. It's constantly shifting. The element of the Sagittarius is fire. It's represented here by the triangle. The triangle is the flame going up towards the sky. And so the element of fire represents the spiritual world, the spiritual realm. So when we put those two together, we have this changing spirituality. That is a lot of the essence of the Sagittarian archetype. Not only are we focused on truth, you have to be a seeker of knowledge in order to gain this truth. Through adventure and experience, we learn in our lives. And so it's this ever-changing spiritual nature of the Sagittarian archetype that we're going to be exploring and spotlighting for this entire solar month. I created a little explanation page here for you guys to show you a few different elements of the Sagittarian archetype. So you see here the symbol represented by the arrow. Next to it, we have, of course, the archetype, the archer. The planet that rules Sagittarius is the planet of Jupiter. Jupiter is all about expansion. It's all about luck. It's all about making things big and bright and energy. So the Jupiter energy is this amazing hugeness in our galaxy, in the story of the zodiac. And so it rules the Sagittarian sign because they're so very similar in their energies. The key word for Sagittarius is idealized. I would also say that the key word is truth. You can see here the constellation of Sagittarius. And again, we have the element of fire represented by the triangle, the modality of mutable, that changeable energy represented by the half circle and the dot, and the house of Sagittarius. So each zodiac sign represents or rules a house. So they go in the order of the zodiac story. So Aries is the first sign in the zodiac story, so it represents the first house. Sagittarius is the 9th sign in the zodiac story, so it rules and represents the 9th house. You can think of the planet as the what of your zodiac story, the sign as the how that what expresses, and the house as the where. So the where of the ninth house is very Sagittarian in energy. It is all about learning, travel, adventure, spirituality. It can deal with mental health. It can deal with higher learning. That is where the energy of the ninth house represents and shows up in our lives. Now, more about the houses will come through in my moon readings. The new moon in Sagittarius happens a day after this solar shift. So after you watch these videos, you definitely are going to want to watch the new moon in Sagittarius video, where we are going to be focusing on the house energies, where this new moon is showing up for us in our lives, and the advice that's coming through for the lunar phase of Sagittarius, which is going to start one day after the solar phase. All right. So for this reading, we are going to be consulting the Isis Oracle by Alana Fairchild. And if readings aren't your thing, please feel free just to watch the explanation of your energy and let yourself play with how that expresses throughout your solar month. But we can also use the cards to get more insight on how to really capitalize on this energy. The Isis Oracle wanted us to focus on freedom this solar phase. So freedom is a huge theme of the Sagittarian archetype. I haven't really talked about it yet, but it deals with this expansion. In order to be free, you have to be able to expand. In order to expand, you have to be able to be free. If you're confined, you're not able to expand and you're not free. So we're going to focus on how to get ourselves to open up to a more free way of living. That is what the Isis Oracle really wants to bring to us for this solar season of Sagittarius. So in order to focus on this freedom, the Isis Oracle is going to bring us this little poem, this little affirmation to say throughout our solar phase, to really activate within us this free expression that we are looking to embody during this Sagittarian season. This is a very, very powerful deck, and I am excited to share the medicine, the power, and the beauty and the wisdom that this deck has to offer. We have covered everything that we're going to cover here in this explanation video, and we're going to dive into our individual readings. So this reading is for you if the planet Neptune was in the sign of Sagittarius when you were born. If you're already familiar with the Neptune in Sagittarius energy, you can scroll ahead to the card reading. So Neptune in the astrological story represents our connection to source. And the location that it's in represents how that connection to source expresses. So in your instance, the connection to source, your connection to source, expresses itself through the Sagittarian energy and archetype, through this adventurous, congenial, idealistic, optimistic, and intellectual vibration, through this adaptable and changing fire or spirituality. So when it comes to how you connect to source, going on an adventure actually allows you to connect to the source energy. So it's almost like allowing yourself to be on an adventure and be in the flow of the unfolding helps you to connect to the energy of source. It also is this idealistic energy. You also might intellectually connect to source through studying about source. Like whatever source means to you, you want to learn about it. You want to have a deep understanding of it so that you can really relate to it. You also might have an optimistic approach when it comes to source. You might just believe source is there without really needing much evidence for it. You might just believe that it's there. You might just have this idealistic view of spirituality, of your connection to source, and it might come very natural to you for that reason. Sagittarius is a very spiritual sign in general, and so this connection to source carries this very spiritual quality to you. You might find ceremony and sacred processes and ways of being and practices help you to connect to source. And again, whatever source is for you, your higher self, a god or goddess, an ancestor, all that is, the quantum field, whatever it is that you believe is source, how you connect to it is through this Sagittarian energy and archetype. Now let's find out what the goddess oracle wants to guide you to understand and know and affirm to help you to attain and achieve freedom in this connection to your source. If you haven't already, taken a few deep breaths, called in your spiritual support team, and opened your heart to receive the guidance that's most aligned for you, I invite you to do that at this time. It's 2 cards here. It's not the right thing, but they just wanted to be separated. Wow, these cards need to be shuffled up. Okay. Spirit of Isis, Triumph of the Goddess. I don't know that I've ever received this card, you guys. This might be a new card for me. Okay. Beloved, there are times to surrender and let go, but there are never times to give up. Persist with your bold faith and inspired action until the impossible happens. Isis has the spirit of triumph and will never fail in her quest, no matter how bold or impossible it seems. Believe. Woo! Yes. Okay. So immediately what I'm feeling from this message is that it's time to put your faith into your source. It's time to believe that anything is possible and to see what happens through this faith and belief. There's an affirmation here that I'm going to recommend you write down. I'm going to recommend you utilize frequently in the morning and at night or whenever it feels aligned to do that for you. Okay. If you are on YouTube, you can turn captions on. It'll help you to write down what I'm saying. And you can just pause every few words here. Spirit of Isis, enduring and bright, your love more powerful than might, your triumph assured in any fight. I center myself in the truth of your light. Your love makes the impossible real. I go into my heart and feel the success coming to me at this time. I give thanks for your blessing divine. Wow. So this is talking about how through faith we can make the impossible possible. And this is talking about a resolute focus on what it is that you want, what it is that you're achieving. And right now it's freedom, your freedom, whatever that means to you. We are focusing on that. We are connecting to source to help guide us to that, to allow ourselves to surrender to the unfolding, to surrender to our faith that we will be free. And even on a broader level, that humanity will be free, that our loved ones will be free of their suffering, will be free of the things that hold them back, will be free of the pain that they hold in their body and their beings. You will be free of that through this faith, through this unwavering belief in the impossible being possible. And we will also experience this on a collective level as well. Powerful message. I don't have much more to add here, my beautiful Neptunes in Sagittarians. I am so excited for you to have this faith, to see the impossible become possible. I was actually watching a reading for the astrological interpretation of the new moon in Sagittarius. And one of the things that the person said, I believe it was Pam Gregory, I'll try to link it here for you. She said that this is a time for us to believe that the impossible is possible and to hold that faith and that vision, to really meditate on that, to really have faith in that, to pour all of our faith into the impossible being possible, into freedom being possible for ourselves and our human species. And I'm adding that freedom part because that was the particular focus of our card reading here. But she was talking about how in the impossible being possible, just like this card is also talking about. It's very relevant here. We're holding this vibration, we're holding this image and vision, and we're trusting in the divine to guide us to this reality, to make the impossible possible. Yes. Let me know how this is resonating with you. Let me know if you have questions. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste.